Earlier this week, we explored the missionary efforts that came out of the British Awakening that really flowed out of the First Great Awakening and led into the Second Great Awakening. And we saw that the Baptist Missionary Society was formed by William Carey, and he was sent out to India. Edwin Ord tells us about some other agencies and organizations that were formed during this time period. This period of revival in the United Kingdom brought forth the British Foreign Bible Society, the London Missionary Society, the Church Missionary Society, and a host of auxiliary agencies for evangelism. These agencies formed to serve with empathy those who needed the gospel and those in need of Christian charity. We can see this clearly in the founding of the British Foreign Bible Society in 1804. The foundation of this society can be traced back to a Welsh girl named Mary Jones. Mary Jones had saved for 6 years to purchase a Bible. And she walked to another village nearby to purchase a Bible. And when she got there, a pastor named Thomas Charles arranged for her to lodge there in the village. And then he sold her 3 Bibles for the cost of 1 because he saw her desire for God's Word. Now, Thomas Charles was a pastor, and he would preach regularly. And sometimes he would see people around town. He would talk to them. Well, he stopped one young lady that he saw often, and he asked her, he said, "Tell me the passage I preached on last week. Tell me what text it was." And she began to break down crying. Well, the pastor didn't really know what to do or how to respond. So he said, "What's wrong?" And she says something to the effect of, "I couldn't get to the Bible to read it this week." So he began to ask her more about what she meant by that. You see, what he learned was that there was no Bible in her home. There was no Bible in her neighborhood, and she would regularly have to walk 7 miles to get to a Bible and read it. And that week, the storms had kept her at home, so she couldn't walk to read the Bible and investigate the passage that he had preached on the previous week. And these 2 events in his life began to bother him. He began to see a need for the Bible in Wales. So he made his plea to the Religious Tract Society of London. And in the meeting, they decided, yes, we will provide Bibles for Wales. And then Joseph Hughes spoke up. And he said, if Wales, why not the world? And with that, they formed the British Foreign Bible Society. In the first year, the society published the Bible in 67 languages. And then it published it later and throughout its history into 2,000 languages. You see, they saw a need and they were meeting it. A need for the gospel, a need for the Bible, and they were meeting it. And we can view this as a missionary advance and a story about missionary history and advancement of the gospel around the world. But if we view it through the lens of Acts chapter 2 and Acts chapter 4, I think we can see this also as an attempt to meet people's needs, to serve people with the gospel and Christian charity. You see, we can find needs in our community. If we're looking, if we're revived, and we have eyes to see, we will see the needs of those around us. It may be a need for the gospel, like they saw, a need for the Bible. Maybe that's it. It could be a financial need, a physical need, an emotional need. What needs are there around you, and how can you meet them? Because if we've experienced the work of the Spirit in our lives, and we received His servants in us, we will then turn around and serve those around us. He'll fill the hole in our life, and we can help fill the holes and the gaps in other people's lives. James 1 says, "Pure and undefiled religion before God and the Father is this, to look after orphans and widows in their distress, and to keep oneself unstained from the world." While widows and orphans are an example given here, everyone is in need at some time. People face rough situations, and we need to take the gospel to them. But y'all, it's difficult for hungry people to hear the gospel. It's difficult for people who are living in their cars to hear about heaven. We need to meet their physical needs here on earth so that we can tell them about the future God has for them. So like these folks in Wales, we need to look for needs, and we need to fill them. Sometimes it's with the Bible, sometimes it's with food. Sometimes it's with emotional support, and sometimes it's with a tract or a Bible to give them to help them find God in their life. How are you finding needs, and how are you meeting them? Because a revived person will serve others with empathy. It's been a long journey on this road to revival, and I hope that you experience revival and spiritual awakening in your life. But when you do, don't keep it to yourself. Take it to others. Thank you for joining me on this trip.